In the fall of 1987, the Johnson family moved into a serene lake house in the countryside. They were seeking peace and a new beginning after a tough year. Little did they know, a malevolent force had been waiting for their arrival. The first night in their new home was anything but restful. Strange noises echoed through the hallways, footsteps on the stairs, doors creaking open and slamming shut on their own. The family reassured themselves it was just the house settling. Emily, the youngest daughter, was trying to sleep in her new room when she heard faint whispers. At first, she thought it was the wind, but the voices grew louder, calling her name. Terrified, she ran to her parents' room. The next morning, the Johnsons felt a growing sense of unease. They noticed cold spots in various rooms, and an oppressive feeling seemed to hang in the air. It was as if an unseen presence was watching them. One evening, John, the father, was reading in the living room when he saw a shadow move across the wall. He looked up, expecting to see someone, but there was no one there. The shadow seemed to have a life of its own, creeping closer. Each night, the disturbances grew worse. The family heard disembodied voices, furniture moved on its own, and they experienced vivid nightmares. Sleep became impossible, and the family was on edge. John decided to investigate the basement where the disturbances seemed strongest. As he descended the stairs, the air grew colder. He found strange symbols carved into the walls and felt a presence watching him. Emily discovered an old diary hidden under a loose floorboard in her room. The diary belonged to a girl who had lived in the house decades earlier. She wrote about experiencing the same terrifying events the Johnsons were now facing. Desperate for answers, the Johnsons sought help from a local historian. He revealed that the house had a dark past, involving a tragic accident and a previous resident who dabbled in the occult. A priest was called to perform an exorcism. As he began to pray, the house reacted violently. Objects flew off shelves, lights flickered, and a deep growl echoed through the walls. The priest was forced to flee, unable to complete the ritual. After the failed exorcism, the haunting intensified. The family saw apparitions, and Emily was often found speaking to unseen entities. The house felt more oppressive each day. Emily's behavior changed drastically. She became withdrawn and violent. One night she spoke in a deep, otherworldly voice, threatening her family. The Johnsons realized the entity had taken hold of their daughter. A renowned exorcist was brought in. He prepared the family for a dangerous battle, explaining that the entity was powerful and deeply rooted in the house. They had to be strong and united. The exorcist began the ritual, chanting prayers and sprinkling holy water. The entity reacted violently, shaking the house and causing unbearable noise. The family held hands, praying for Emily's release. As the exorcism progressed, the entity fought back. Emily convulsed and screamed, and the house seemed to come alive with malevolent energy. The exorcist commanded the entity to leave, unwavering in his resolve. The battle reached its peak. Emily levitated above her bed, and the exorcist shouted prayers louder. With a final ear-piercing scream, the entity was expelled, and Emily fell back onto the bed, unconscious but safe. In the days following the exorcism, the house was eerily quiet. The oppressive feeling lifted, and the cold spots disappeared. The family felt a sense of peace for the first time since they moved in. Emily slowly recovered from her ordeal. The family remained close, supporting each other through the healing process. They shared their story with others, warning them of the dangers that lurk unseen. The Johnsons decided to leave the lake house behind. They packed their belongings and moved to a new home, carrying with them the lessons they had learned and the strength they had gained. The family started anew, grateful to be free from the dark presence that once haunted them. The lake house stood empty, a silent witness to the horrors that had taken place within its walls, waiting for its next unsuspecting occupants.